A whisper led him through madness. He stumbled forward with unfamiliar feet 10 times too small to belong to a warrior. There were lights on the hills all around him, fires, voices shouting through a downpour of sloshing hoofbeats. He reached for his sword, then remembered he hadn't a sword that night. He had only been a boy of 12 midsummers, only a boy, and yet he led the remains of his father's tribe.
Who leads the Northern? I must see more.
Years. A river of men coursed together in a bleeding tide, and he was amidst them. Screams rang. A howling figure silhouetted himself against the moon and brandished a bloody sword aloft. The wolfish figure screamed words of wrath and damnation as he cleaved his way through his Moradel brothers. He was Delacan, former general of Mermandamus, leader of the unified tribes of the Northland, and he was the enemy. The memory detonated into a million fading thoughts, each fleeing after the faint echoes of a weak whisper. Before him now there was a new image, the face of a fair young girl whose pale blue eyes watched him with weary interest.
I cannot find the truth, my prince. His mind is chaotic. I find images, but I cannot hold them long enough to understand.
He hides his thoughts.
Gorath is Moradel. Even with Gamina's exceptional talent for sensing thoughts, his mind may have many innate psychic defenses. I may need to send for one of my more advanced students.
No need to disturb studies, Master Magician Hug. The Moradel speaks truly.
Council members exchanged surprised glances, then turned their attention to the aged magician seated next to Puck. Lowering his eyes, the man made a dismissive gesture.
Forgive me, I do not mean to presume, but I have looked into his mind as well. War in the kingdom would have many wide-ranging effects, not the least of which would lead to the disruption of trade between our worlds. My Emperor of Sura Nowani would be most displeased if our rift-making secrets were seized by barbarians in warfare.
Trading agreements notwithstanding, the mortal watch your borders, Nighthawks spy on your imperial cousins, and before the snows there shall be an army come to the kingdom. Heed my words, Prince of Krondor. You must prepare your troops.
Arutha stood, anger contorting his features, and leaned forward, bringing his fist down upon the table in front of him. What I must or must not do will not be dictated by a distant Moradel. If not for Locklear's good faith in you, I would have had your head staked on a pole and paraded up and down the low quarters of Krondor once I saw you. I have been tolerant while I listened to your vague speculations based on incidental half-heard conversations. But how am I to believe what you say? What evidence have you laid before this council to prove what Delacan intends to do?
What evidence? I bear the humiliation of betraying my vow as a mortal, and the indignity of surrendering to a sworn enemy.
Why betray Delican to the kingdom of the Isles? Of what benefit to you is it to snare him?
He is leader by name only. However bitter a draught Delican may be for your kith and kin to drink, magician, his rule is black poison in the gullets of me and mine. Already he enslaves my cousins and rapes the land. Bloody his nose, Prince of Krondor. Blunt his swords, and the unified tribes will cast him down in wrath. Let him cross your northern border, however, and 10 other clans will join their strength to his, and the legacy of Mermandamus will be but a spark next to his glory.
Where would you have me send my troops, if indeed he intends to strike against one of our northernmost possessions? Which castle shall I garrison for the attack? High Castle? Iron Pass? North Warden? If I am to fight a war by my teeth, tell me where you would have me fight it.
Would that I could tell you. Delican holds in good confidence a handful of cowering dogs, and among them only a few are privy to his war plans. His private councils are restricted to choice individuals. His advisors, Nerib and Nago, his mistress, Lealin, his son, Moralf, and Nighthawks.
He keeps foul company, that leader of yours.
Your Highness, if you give me leave, I believe I can find the evidence of Dalikan's intent. I will need someone to accompany me to Romney, supplies for my journey, and a small parcel of gold.
Romney? What do you think you can find in a provincial river town in the heart of the kingdom?
I am to catch a bird in flight. Of late, Dalikan has emptied a good deal of his treasury to revive the service of the Nighthawks. In exchange, he has demanded tactical information about kingdom holdings.
He's turned the Guild of Assassins into a guild of spies?
Only for a time. Although the payments have been left in various hidden locales, the messengers were always sent to a rendezvous in Romney. If I go there, I may be able to intercept information concerning a forthcoming attack. Would such evidence suffice?
Perhaps. Damn me, but I don't trust you, Gorath. How do I know that this isn't a plot of yours? We can weigh evidence to our heart's content, and your cousins could be slitting the throats of my serfs as we sit dawdling. Go to Romney, but you will provide for yourself. If this is part of some secret Mordell scheme, I will not look the fool before the world. Hug, unroll the map for me. The scroll smelled of dust. Scrawled in chicken scratches and spider tracks, tiny lines staggered across the moth-eaten paper, indicating the paths that were major roads within the kingdom. Pointer in hand, Arutha bent over the map and pointed to a large black dot. We are here, in Krondor. At dawn tomorrow, you will leave the main gate with your escort, Senior James. I know you might have preferred Locklear's company, but he has business elsewhere. You will head to Romney. Providing one of Delacon's assassins doesn't slit your throat first, you should reach the Ursine Ford within the month. In Romney, you will join a special detachment of King Liam's soldiers staying at the Black Sheep Tavern. They may be of service to you. Nodding, Gorath took in Arutha's advice, listening studiously as the prince reviewed the details. If you find the evidence, I will act only when James has conveyed the information to me. Is that clear? Only when I receive James's word. Until then, I wait.
Understood.
Good. Why don't you let Gamina and Makala show you around Krondor? I have a few things I need to consider alone. Reading the offer as a polite dismissal, the worn council members began to file out the door, most glad to be on their feet again following the grueling session. As Pug passed by, however, Arutha snagged his sleeve and drew him back to the table. If you don't mind, I would have your counsel, Cousin Pug.
Certainly. I am all attention.
As I see it, Delacon could have only two potential targets for the attack into the kingdom, High Castle and North Warden. His fortress at Sarsaga is 300 miles to the north, and I doubt he has the resources to defend a line for that long. So an attack on North Warden seems unlikely, which is a viable alternative, but neither target seems to have an obvious goal. I know you are no field strategist, and you hate to become involved in state matters, but I should like you to delay your return to your home in Starduck for a while. I feel ill at ease.
You are not alone in that. I too have sensed something unusual in the air, but I won't ascribe it to anything as dire as magic. More likely suffer from bad soup.
Feelings aside, I will call up the militia reserves from Mallex Cross, Darkmoor, and Lighton, and join them to the detachment of the Krondorian Lancers just outside of the Dimwood. James will send word to me there.
What of the garrison?
It will remain in place. I've considered the option of a full push to the south, and it seems unlikely, but I will give Delacon nothing. Our agreement remains. Now we wait. Gods help Gorath if he betrays us to the Moradel. James and Gorath meet Owyn in the sewers under Krondor, and the trio travel to Romney to rendezvous with a detachment of King Liam's troops at the Black Sheep Tavern. Even as they threw the door open, James bit back the impulse to vomit. Kingdom soldiers lay scattered about the room, each lying in his own coagulating pool of blood. Nowhere did there appear to be anyone untouched by murder's